This video will demonstrate the fabrication layout and slab image features within ActionFlow. Here I have a kitchen that I previously have created, and now we're going to create a fabrication layout. Before I do that, I'm going to come over to this top here and I'm going to go ahead and add a seam to this one. I'm suspecting that this is not going to fit onto one slab, so let's just go ahead and drop a seam right there in that corner. And as you noticed, we intentionally used a seam instead of a split option, and at this point there's no way in ActionFlow to put a top back together after you actually split it. But by using a seam here instead of a split, you're able to change that later if you needed to do so. So you'll probably use the seam 95% of the time rather than the split. Now we're going to go over here and hit the new Fab Layout button. And once you'll notice this, it's going to create a new Fab Layout and click us over to the Fabrication Layout screen. You notice that the orange lines that represented the backsplash have now been converted into actual pieces. And you can see that any seams that we had on the top on the original drawing are now split at this point. So the resulting fabrication layout will show the tops split at the point where your seam was at. Now we're going to go ahead and add a slab. So we're going to add slab details, and we're going to go to this grid down here and click on the green plus sign, and we're going to add a couple slabs in. As you can see, the Cambria Shire brick has been previously configured with the dimensions, but if you wanted to, you can click on that and change the dimensions at the time that you entered in your slabs. If you go up here, you can see that you can click this and you can flip your pieces around. If you wanted to select multiple pieces, you can hold down the Control key. You can click your desired pieces and move those as well if you wanted to do that. You can also hold down your Shift key and you can drag your mouse and release, and you can move several pieces at a time by doing that. So now we're just going to go ahead and take these pieces and we're going to lay them out on the slab. So we'll put that here. We'll go ahead and put that on that tab. So you can just move those around until you get the layout how you'd like it. Like so. And now I've confirmed that these pieces will fit onto two slabs, so there's my fabrication layout there. I'd like to point out one strategy once again is that we're just highly recommending to use the seam and not the splits in the layout. After adding this, if you needed to go back in and click on the new Fab Layout, you can do that. It would delete that. You could go back into your customer layout. If you needed to move that seam, if it didn't work, you could do that here. And then you could go back in your fabrication layout and you could start from scratch. But if you would have put a split instead of a seam, you would not be able to adjust that top. So that's just kind of a little handy trick there. So we'll just lay these out once again for you. And there we go. And we also wanted to mention that there's several places that you can use the fabrication layout. There's several reports that will use this layout instead of the customer layout. And then to determine which drawing you want to use on certain reports, you can go into the report configuration session and you can select that there. There is also an estimate that you'll see here. It's an estimate with fabrication layout, and that's going to show you both the customer and the fabrication layout. So now what we want to do is we want to see the slab images. And then there's two types of slab images. There's a sample and then there's actual images. First I'm going to go in and I'll show you the sample image. When you go over here down to your slabs and you select sample image, it's going to give you a message that's saying that, that no images have been uploaded. Would you like to upload those now? So I'm going to go here where I have my Shire brick sample, and I'm going to go ahead and upload that. Now please note that this does need to be a JPEG or a PNG file for this to work. So now that we've got all those uploaded, I do want to take a quick moment and show you where those images do go. So if you close out of here and you go back into your administration tab and then you go under your SKU items, we do have Cambria listed here in our drop down, And then if you go down and find your Shirebrook slabs, if you scroll over to the right, you can find your images here. Now, if you're an administrator and you're viewing that image column, this will allow you to add, view, and delete images. And as you can see, that's our section here. And then you can see that the JPEG has been added. And here's where you can view that image. You can add or delete that if you wish to do so for certain colors. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the area module and we're going to go back into that fabrication layout by clicking edit. And now since we have those loaded up, we're going to go back to our fabrication layout tab and we're going to click show slab images. Now when you do that, you can see the pieces are now laid out on the slab. And it would be similar if you click that on your customer layout. Sometimes if this doesn't refresh right away, you can click on this refresh sign to make this visible. And you can see your slab images here. So now there is a fabrication layout with slab images from your slab samples. Another option, it's possible that you might want to use actual images instead. If you have the inventory and you've loaded up Cambria Shirebrook already into ActionFlow, those would be available for you to choose down here. So let's say we're going to use slabs 348 and slabs 349 for this layout. And I want to say that I want to use an actual image instead of the sample. So if you click on actual, you will see that it's going to give us a message that no actual images have been loaded. So I'm going to grab an image and I'm going to upload it here. So we're going to select a file and we're going to just go ahead and say this is an actual slab. And then we're going to click OK. And then I'm going to go down and I'm going to use an actual image here as well. And we're going to upload that. So at this point you're going to have two images loaded in. And if we go ahead and refresh at this point, you're going to see the new images are going to pop up over here like so. And then the new fabrication layout shows your new actual slab images as well. Now, if you needed to crop an image for some reason, you can do that by clicking on this crop button. This field is the photo view width, and this is the actual distance that's represented in your photo. If you were using a green screen, you can measure how much of that you wanted to actually see in the photo. You can click and drag and crop certain areas with your mouse to just show certain portions of the slabs that you wanted to include. And ActionFlow will calculate the dimensions based on that rectangle and update your dimensions on your slab automatically. And then it would actually use your crop image for that layout. Now let me show you real quick where these actual images did go. If you had the inventory module, you could go under your inventory and you could search for slab number 348 here. And then what this is going to do is it's going to bring us up to slab number 348. If you click on this file button here, you can see that our slab images is stored. The photos of the attached slabs go into your files and they'll be stored here so you can see your actual slab images. Just another thing, if we go back into our quote, you do have the ability to unpin some of the windows. So if you wanted to do that for any reason, you could click on the unpin buttons here. And these are going to move these off of your screen. Now what you can do with this is you can take this fabrication layout. Actually, sorry about that. We're going to pin that over. You can take this fabrication layout, and what we're going to do is we're going to drop this over here. And now what this is going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to see these two images laying side by side, which is kind of a nice little feature that you can use there. Now, and then if you wanted to take those back, you could simply you'll just unpin your areas like so. You can grab, actually you'll want to grab this fabrication layout, drop that right back into the center, and then here you are back to your original screen as well. Now that concludes the video for the fabrication layout and slab images.